The knock came at midnight, not a loud knock, not the kind that demanded attention or came with authority. It was soft, hesitant 3 light taps, a pause, then 2 more, as if whoever stood outside was afraid the door might bite back. Ethan Hale woke instantly. Some habits never left a soldier. Years after discharge, after the medals were boxed and the uniform folded away, his body still snapped awake at unfamiliar sounds. His eyes opened to darkness, his breath already steady, his hand drifting instinctively toward the bedside drawer where a very old, very well-maintained sidearm rested. Then he heard the voice. Excuse me, Mr. Ethan." The voice was small, high-pitched. Young Ethan frowned and sat up, heart thudding not with fear, but confusion. No one knocked on doors at midnight in Port Meridian unless something had gone terribly wrong. And no one, absolutely no one, called him Mr. Ethan. He swung his legs over the side of the bed and crossed the apartment quietly. The corridor light flicked on, bathing the room in a soft yellow glow. He paused at the door, listening. A faint sniffle, a rustle of fabric, the subtle scrape of claws on metal decking. Claws. Ethan exhaled slowly. Dragonfolk. Then he unlocked the door and opened it. Standing in the corridor was the smallest dragon girl he had ever seen. She couldn't have been more than 6 or 7. Cycles old by galactic standards, maybe younger. Her scales were a soft ember red, dulled with dust and soot. Small horn nubs curved from her brow, barely longer than a thumb, and her wings delicate. Translucent things were folded tight against her back, one of them trembling. She wore an oversized tunic that clearly belonged to an adult, cinched around her middle with a piece of wire. Her tail curled protectively around her legs, and behind her, down the corridor, Ethan could see scorch marks clawing across the wall and a door hanging crooked on its frame. She looked up at him with enormous gold-flecked eyes. "Imamar said you fix things," she whispered. "Our door is broken, and they might come back." Something cold settled in Ethan's chest. He crouched slowly, making himself smaller, less threatening. He had faced warlords, boarding parties, and creatures that could tear steel like paper, but a frightened child was a different battlefield entirely. "What's your name, kiddo?" he asked gently. "Lyra," she said, wiping her nose with the sleeve of the tunic. "I'm sorry it's late. Mama said not to bother humans after dark, but she's hurt." That did it. Ethan was already moving. "Show me," he said, standing and grabbing his jacket. "And don't worry about the time. Doors don't care what hour it is." Lyra's eyes widened slightly. Then she nodded and turned, practically trotting down the corridor. The apartment at the end of the hall was worse up close. The reinforced alloy, door standard issue for mixed species housing had been forced. Not pried, not blasted. Forced inward, hinges bent, locking pins sheared clean. Deep claw gouges scored the surface, glowing faintly where residual heat still lingered. Ethan's jaw tightened. Not an accident, not a malfunction. Inside, the small apartment was dim, lit only by emergency strips along the floor. Furniture was overturned. A table lay split in 2. The air smelled faintly of smoke and fear, and on the couch sat Lyra's mother. She was a full-grown dragon woman, scales a deep crimson darkened, almost too black in places. One wing was torn, membrane shredded, hastily wrapped in bandages made from curtains. Her shoulder bore the unmistakable mark of an electrolance burn. Her eyes snapped toward the doorway, pupils narrowing. "Lyra," she rasped, trying to stand. Get back, it's okay, Ethan said calmly, raising his hands. I'm your neighbor, Ethan. Your daughter asked for help. The dragon woman studied him for a long moment. He could see calculation, their predatory intelligence dulled by pain. Finally, she sank back onto the couch, breathing hard. Humans, she murmured, always appearing when things break. Ethan knelt by the door immediately, running his fingers along the frame, assessing damage. Who did this? He asked. She hesitated. Debt collectors, she said bitterly. Or what they call themselves. Off-worlders. They don't care that the war is over. They smell weakness. Ethan's hand stilled. What war? He asked, though a part of him already knew. The Draconid secession, she said. We fought for autonomy, lost, fled. Humans were neutral, mostly. Mostly, Ethan swallowed. I can fix the door, he said finally. But it'll take more than a patch job. This frame needs reinforcing. Lyra hovered nearby, clutching a small plush toy that looked like a winged lizard. Will it keep them out? She asked. Ethan looked at her. Really looked. It will, he said. I promise. Promises were dangerous things. But some were worth making. He worked silently for nearly an hour. From his storage locker, he brought hardened brackets, composite bars, and an old kinetic brace he'd salvaged years ago and never thrown away. His hands moved with practiced efficiency measure, a line, secure. Sweat beaded on his brow as he welded. The soft hiss of plasma filling the corridor. The dragon woman watched him the entire time. You were military, she said quietly. Yeah, Ethan replied, not looking up. Once, against us. Ethan paused, then shook his head. Different front, different enemy. She considered that, when he finished, the door looked normal, ordinary. But beneath the surface, it was reinforced with layered composites designed to stop breaching charges and powered. Claws alike. He tested it once. Twice, solid. There, he said, standing. That door would make a battleship jealous. Lyra smiled, bright gap-toothed thing that made something ache pleasantly in Ethan's chest. Thank you, she said. Mama, he fixed it. Her mother inclined her head deeply. You have my gratitude, human. And my name. I am Sereth of the Ember Clutch. Ethan nodded. Ethan Hale, just your neighbor. He turned to leave. Then, the corridor lights flickered. Ethan froze, his instincts screamed. The buildings, external sensors chimed softly in his ear. Implantan, old model, decommissioned. But still functional. Multiple heat signatures, approaching armed. Ethan's hand dropped slowly to his side. They're back, Sereth said. Voice low, Lyra's wings trembled. Ethan turned back toward the door. How many? He asked. 3, Sereth said. Maybe 4, Ethan exhaled. Stay here, he told Lyra gently. No matter what you hear. He stepped into the corridor and closed the door behind him. The lights dimmed further as power rerouted. Footsteps echoed from the stairwell, heavy, confident. The scent of ozone and scorched metal grew stronger. A tall figure rounded the corner, encased in mercenary armor painted with jagged sigils. A plasma caster rested casually on his shoulder. Well, the alien sneered. Looks like the lizard hired. Muscle. Ethan cracked his neck. You've got the wrong apartment, he said calmly. The mercenary laughed. Then Ethan moved. The first strike shattered the Merc's knee actuator. The second sent the plasma caster skidding down the corridor. Ethan flowed through the motion like water, every movement precise. Economical, another merc fired. Ethan rolled, felt heat scorch past his shoulder, came up inside the firing arc, and drove his elbow into the alien's chest plate with bone-cracking force. Years ago, humans had learned something the galaxy never quite understood. We were not the strongest species. We were not the fastest. We did not breathe fire or tear steel with claws. But we adapted, we endured, and when cornered, we fought like the universe itself had wronged us. The fight was over in less than a minute. 3 mercenaries lay unconscious or worsel on the corridor. Ethan stood among them, breathing steadily, knuckles bruised, jacket torn. Sirens wailed in the distance. He keyed an anonymous alert to station security, tagging the mercs' transponders and freezing their accounts with an old military code that should not have worked. But Diddy returned to Sereth's apartment and knocked. Softly, Lyra opened the door. Her eyes were wide. Did you fix it?" she asked. Ethan smiled tiredly. "Yeah," he said. "Everything's fixed." Sereth looked at the corridor, then back at him. "You protected us," she said. "Why?" Ethan shrugged. "Because you asked," he said. "And because no one should have to be afraid in their own home." Lyra stepped forward and hugged his leg. He froze. Then, slowly, carefully, he rested a hand on her head. From that night on, the dragon family never worried about their door again, and the building learned something new. If you threatened the little dragon girl at the end of the hall, the human veteran next door would answer at midnight or any hour at all. Asterisk.